Are you ready?
A Shot of Wrestling presents A Shot of BCW. And away we go.
Break your damn shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot. Oh, yeah. Hey, step up to the break. We got MJP and BC Dog. That's the reigning championship team. From Milan to Japan and everywhere in between. Get the up-to-date news on the wrestling scene. So take a shot, boy. Is that the message you got? We about to go live. Are you ready to rock? So take a shot.
And here's your host, Michael J. Putty.
Hello, everybody, and welcome, like Shane Fair just said, to A Shot of BCW. Props to him, leading us every week, the voice, the golden pipes of BCW. Now, usually at the time I introduce the governor, America's favorite agent. He's not here this week. So joining me in his stead, the voice of BCW, my good friend and yours, Mr. Cheyenne Ortiz. Cheyenne, how you doing, buddy?
My good friend, MJP, Michael J. Putty. Hello, everyone. Hello to the BCW congregation. As the man with the white glove treatment, Shane Fair, my dear close personal friend, would say to you, it is a pleasure to be here on A Shot of BCW, an auxiliary, of course, of the Shot of Wrestling podcast. Shout out to Anthony Cole for calling me up to come out here, and to you guys for having me. Thank you so much.
How many close personal friends do you have?
Several.
Do you?
Several.
Because I never hear you describe me like that.
My accountant knows them.
Oh, okay. It's tax season, so he should know them.
Exactly.
So, listening, if you're first time joining us, this is A Shot.
Speaking of which, I want to do a special congratulations to my dear close personal friend, Jay Bougie, as he's going to be a father, and I cannot wait to meet my godson, Christopher Faith Bougie.
You know the name already.
Really excited. Yes, Christopher Faith Bougie.
Wow. And did he tell you that, or are you making this up, pulling it out of your ass?
No, he told me that.
Did he? Over Checkers or PS3?
Me and Jay Bougie are hitting the Modern Warfare 2 every night.
Jesus. We're
doing the baby registry. We're on buybaby.com. We're looking at carriers, okay?
Why does he ignore you every time you run commentary? Like, he doesn't acknowledge you at all.
You know what? Well, I actually have the answer for that, because when Jay Bougie comes out, he is so focused as a professional wrestler. He is so determined and headstrong at the task at hand that he doesn't want to be completely bombarded by true love, affection, and friendship like what he and I have.
Even afterwards in the locker room, when the show's done, he still doesn't give you the time of day?
No, in the locker room where they're at the bar together and we're hanging. You know.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, before I was interrupted.
You got eyes.
This is A Shot of BCW, exclusive, condensed news of everything Brii Combination Wrestling. We are still in the hangover of the biggest show of the year, Anniversary 6. Mr. Ortiz is here to kind of break down, get his side, his opinion of what happened. Last show went a little bit long. We talked to the governor. He broke down everything from his point of view.
Well, it's always long when you're talking to the governor. Jesus.
Yeah, we can talk for days. That guy can talk, man. I love talking to that guy.
Seriously, man.
So let's get your 2 cents while we're still 2.5 months away from Summer on Smash, a tribute to Mama Pan. We got some time to kill here, but there has some news broken this week. We'll get into that a little bit later. But as the voice, as the man sitting ringside, show in and show out, minus your suspension, let's get into Anniversary 6, your point of view. We started out with the Grand Dragon Championship, Anthony Gangone versus Vicious Vicky.
I mean, what a hard-hitting contest to start out with and kind of make things full circle. It's a show that headlined, of course, Queen of the North, that I had to miss because of my suspension. Shout out to AJ Pan.
Shout out.
And, Anthony Cole and AJ and the powers that be, the BCW governing body, thought that it was the right thing to do to start the show off with that matchup. And Vicious Vicky, as soon as she was cleared to compete, called up the governor and relayed the message, hey, I'm ready, I want it. And it was one of the best intergender matches I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
It was my honor to call it, ever since. I mean, intergender wrestling's been a part of the indies for a while now. It's kind of had this, not even a resurgence, sort of a renaissance since the pandemic, because it's become more commonplace. Having said that, this match was top tier. man, woman, child, whatever pronoun you identify as, this match was stellar. Got to give it to Vicious Vicky for truly pouring her heart out and really impressing Dr. Sleep, Anthony Gangone, my man.
This had a different feel to it. Like you said, the way it ended off in Queen of the North, we're picking right off like nothing happened. This started the show, but the atmosphere was very electric.
Yes.
See, the crowd was hyped as soon as the bell kicked off. This was a highly anticipated match, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, agreed. And I think from the competitor standpoint, you saw that Anthony Gangone realized that Vicky was not going to be denied.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw that Vicky, despite everything, Gangone was not impressed. For Gangone, it was another routine visit for Dr. Sleep.
I was talking about last show. Governor pointed out there was a split second of hesitation on his part. You see, he was going to go for something. He halted himself. It was very brief. I missed it. He pointed it out.
We
turn
actually
that dial up and boom.
I don't know if you recall that we talked about that during intermission.
Yeah,
and I. We talked about that during intermission, and I think what's kept Anthony Gangone so prominent in the Indies, because I don't want to say the Northeast, Gangone's all over.
True.
Is the fact that he doesn't have hesitation. And I think that when you guys realize how many ways that Dr. Sleep can manipulate your body and can contort, the human bone, is when you guys are going to realize just how good he is. Having said that, that brief moment of weakness showed that Dr. Sleep is in fact human. It did not cost him the match. No. Ultimately, it was very interesting to see some form of emotion from Dr. Sleep.
Moving on, the next match was a really exciting match I was looking forward to. The Scramble match. We had Daniel Alexander, Ben Rutten, Theo Ivory, and the MILF Hunter himself, Face. All four young competitors vying to make a name for themselves, vying for position here in BCW.
So I love that Scramble match because it was anybody's ball game. BCW is in a very, very bountiful playing field right now where anybody could shoot up the ladder at any given time. And what better way than for those four guys? We're always talking about Jay Bougie, but Face really shined in that matchup despite not pulling out the victory. Face was stellar in that matchup. Face brings an intensity second to none a lot of times. And I think, all those guys really delivered on the platform that was Anniversary. Ben Rutten is one of the most versatile wheelhouses I've seen from an offensive standpoint in the professional wrestling ring. Of course, Ivory just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And of course, the Prince of the Puppets, Alexander, getting it done.
Me and Mr. Pan have spoke in depth about his hatred for the puppets. How do you feel about the puppets?
Well, I'm very much aware that you and Pan discriminate against puppets.
I don't discriminate. I'm just saying they get involved in the match to be disqualification.
And you discriminate against puppets.
As long as they don't get involved. They get involved, disqualification, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't know what children's show ruined it for you, but,
Lamb
that's
Chop.
Something you Well, I knew it. It's always Lamb Chop.
This is the song that never...
A big fan of it.
You would be.
Fan.
You would be.
Yeah, and then, AJ Pan, it's funny because that's like self-discrimination because he is a puppet. Moving on.
Wow, sniping already at the governor. We'll get into that soon. Next matchup was a showcase match from One Division Pro. We were not there. Their own commentary team took our spots, but it was a good match.
Yes,
a little chaotic ending to it.
Had a chaotic ending, to say the least. I got to catch the match. I got to speak a little bit with my man, Vinny the Guido. And One Division Pro is another fed that you guys should not be sleeping on. They've become great partners, almost an auxiliary of BCW at this point. And I got to see the match. It was great back and forth action until its controversial ending, as you pointed out.
So this won't be the last time we see One Division Pro here at BCW. Looking forward to the next showcase. Hope you get some resolution to this match. then your very good, close, personal friend, your BFFLLLFL, whatever it's called, Jay Bougie, took on
Raise the Roof,
the Embassy's own Khan.
Yeah, I was so privileged to call that match because I knew that it was going to be the stepping stone that Jay Bougie needed. And he stepped hard. And Khan, man, Khan is such a pro. There's a reason that he's on TV. There's a reason he's one part of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. What a hard-hitting, physical specimen.
It was amazing.
And I believe he didn't want to humble Jay Bougie. I don't believe that. I believe that Khan wanted to teach Jay Bougie a lesson.
Okay.
And that lesson was slow down, kid, give it time.
Now, you also had the privilege of calling this match with Mr. Caprice Coleman. How was that as a commentator, having him sitting next to you? Did you learn anything? Did you feel him? Like, how was that experience?
You know, a lot of times when I do commentary with wrestlers, you know, I don't mean this with any disrespect at all, but you really don't know what you're going to get.
No, that's fair.
It's foreign to the guys to be on a headset by comparison to a promo. You know, they like, oh, do I be in character? Do I commend the athleticism that I'm seeing? You know, how kayfabe is this? Sometimes they kind of overthink it, right? But Caprice Coleman, if he wanted to be a commentator tomorrow, he would excel.
Yeah, he has a good shot with Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he was excellent. He was excellent on the headset. Me and AJ at times were just looking at each other like, you know, shit, you know, like 40-year-old virgin with Moose, you know, we got a fucking ringer here, you know, like that.
Yeah.
He was great. He was excellent. And he really added more legitimacy to the match. I'm not saying the match wasn't legitimate on its own, but as a protege of Khan's, right? And then somebody who was in contention for the BCW world title, now you're sitting at the booth.
True.
So he really helped and polished up that atmosphere because, like you mentioned before, the crowd was ready. But let me tell you, man, they really want to see that Jay Bougie versus Khan match, and I totally get why. And it was stellar. You know, I've seen Jay Bougie since the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Of course,
and
close personal friend.
Absolutely. However, that was Jay Bougie's best match, and he shined, man.
We talked about it with the governor last show. Jay Bougie lost that match.
Unfortunately, yeah. I really thought. I don't want to say I thought Jay Bougie was going to win, but I sure as hell thought he had a chance.
But in a way, he won because not only did he lose, he lost that match, but he got respect from Khan. And then, in my opinion, a huge golden moment caught on camera by our team here. He was leaving, and Caprice Coleman gave him some word of advice. Keep your nose clean, keep your head straight. You'll be a champion someday in this industry. So he lost that match, but I think he walked away on a higher level than he did walking in.
Yeah, shout out to False Finish Productions for not only capturing that, leaving it in.
Yeah.
To your point, it was excellent. The moment itself, and again, it just sometimes you have a great match, and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like you come in, wow, 5 stars, and then you go. Everything from the following contest of Shane Fair to the entrances, to the ring walk, to the commentary, to the finish, to the handshake. It was a moment, and we captured it.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
like that match alone. Really that match alone would have done Jay Bougie justice, but to capture that iconic moment with Caprice Coleman, giving him that chance. We talked about it on commentary. Caprice Coleman is somebody who wanted to shake away the stereotype African-American wrestler gimmicks and give them some sort of legitimacy, brains, and intelligence. And Jay Bougie is following in that suit. And to see those guys connect, to me, was a special moment I'll never forget.
Yeah, I co-sign that.
Next up was supposed to be the BCW Women's Tag Team match. However, on our card it was. However, Caprice Coleman, during one of his promos leading up to this show, said he does not want to see Darius Carter in the locker room. So what does Darius Carter do? He comes out after this match and causes a scene.
Yeah.
A little scuffle ensues, and which leads Mr. Cole to come out, saying, "All right, you guys want to wait another an hour, or you guys want to do this now?" The crowd says now. So it threw the entire show, as you know, into chaos.
Yes, it did. All started by the Allfather, as usual.
Yeah, I mean, this was nuts. And that led to Darius Carter versus Caprice Coleman, not main eventing, but being the main event of the first act.
Of the first act, yeah.
Before we get into your personal aspects of that match, your thoughts in the match, your thoughts of the match in and of itself.
You know, Darius Carter is one of those guys that I will never stop giving him his flowers.
Of course not, yeah.
Darius Carter is one of the best wrestlers on the independents in North America, from psychology to his arsenal, to his mic work, to his presentation. Legitimate, right?
Yep.
Now, having said that, and I mean this again with no disrespect, it's not often that Carter gets to wrestle somebody just as or more than legitimate than he.
True.
Darius Carter is at a point in his career where he is the legitimate one. You know, and then to have someone like Caprice Coleman, it's like, whoa, now we're talking the bases are loaded for those of you who watch real sports. What an excellent wrestling contest that I got to call, that I was honored to call. Just straight back and forth action. And Caprice Coleman, for his age, because I'm not trying to disrespect him. Holy crap. So much in the tank.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So much in the tank. And, you know, despite being ultimately blindsided in ambush, because unfortunately, I love Darius. That is what happened. Despite coming short in the victory, Caprice Coleman certainly rose to the occasion in the battlefield. But in the end, all hail the All-Father, Darius Carter. Like I said, you know, if the wrestling world is helmed by the galaxy, then Darius Carter owns the stratosphere, you know?
Oh, wow. Well said. Well, I'll check you out.
Every once in a while.
Darius Carter, the first two-time BCW champion. His last reign extended over 1,200 days.
That's right.
Looking forward to it.
And keep in mind, Darius Carter already defended that title during the biggest wrestling weekend of the year in California.
Successfully, we might add.
That's right.
Damn right. Congratulations to him. How do I put this nicely? We had the one division pro match. We had We had the Jay Bougie match, and then we had the women's tag team match. So I'm supposed to just relax and skate and just do my due diligence, and then this kerfuffle happened, which means the main event is now the main event of the first half. So I come up to find out what's going on, and I see you and the governor going at it.
Oh yes, yeah.
Two professionals were supposed to be, but lost their cool. I mean, you did. AJ kind of stayed calm.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
So
pal.
before we get your 2 cents, last episode 4 of A Shot of BCW, we had the governor here.
Again. I heard this when it aired, but all right.
Oh, you did. But in case people haven't, let's refresh their memories and hear what the governor had to say about what happened before Darius Carter versus Caprice Coleman.
Sure.
Play the clip, and we're back. So there it is. He just gave you a love tap, and then he said you overwrapped. The thing I want to get your point in, he said you have a Napoleon complex. That seemed a little bit harsh.
Well, it's no secret, ladies and gentlemen, despite my handsome profile, I am vertically challenged. Having said that, I don't believe that I have a Napoleon complex. First of all, I reach the top shelf in my home. Having said that, I want to point out that Darius Carter came out and completely insinuated anarchy. And if you can recall, I was trying to restrain Mr. Carter, who I have a great rapport with, while AJ was in fact trying to restrain Mr. Caprice Coleman until Anthony Cole lowered the boom and made the match. And Carter, while me and AJ were sandwiched in between these two valiant competitors, Carter sucker punched Caprice Coleman to kick things off. And then, all of a sudden, the governor, with some form of respect, Mr. Pan, pushed me.
He said love tap.
Which I respectfully said to Mr. Pan, and I said this very politely, what the hell are you pushing me for?
Okay.
To which he then said, look here, clown shoes, I'm your boss.
Ooh.
And he punched me in the shoulder.
He didn't say that part. If you notice, he didn't say that part.
Exactly. I then proceeded to jackrabbit slap the hair dye off of his beard.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, the officials, came and had to restrain me.
Yeah.
Me.
You were a little buck nutty, man.
All right. Had to restrain me. And while I'm being restrained, AJ Pan is kicking me in his Joseph and the Technicolor raincoat suit.
Beautiful suit. Beautiful suit, by the way. Props to him. Beautiful suit.
Yeah. One of our fans caught an epileptic attack looking at him during the conference.
Personal attack.
Pal? Yeah. Okay. It was terrible. And what I want to say is to Mr. Pan is, unfortunately, you caught me at a low light, and I exited all professionalism because I was accosted firsthand. My attorney Jacqueline Diaz has this footage, courtesy of False Finish Productions. And we have a case against the governor, and we're waiting to see if I will be allowed for the June show, because I may in fact be suspended.
I hope not. I hate filling your shoes.
I hope not too, but it's pretty clear that
your shoes are so small, my feet are so big, I can't fit in them.
Well, thank you so much. I will, however, try to fight that as best as I can.
Please
but
do.
I respectfully disagree with the governor, hashtag air quotes, and I do say that I was accosted. I was the one. I am the victim here.
I got to usually what I do, I drive to Mark Schwann's house, and then we carpool in, just
throw eggs at it,
hang out, and we come in together. However, halfway to his house, it was all red on my GPS. I'm like, bro, I'm gonna make it to you in time. How about I just meet you there? He's like, okay. So I go back from Westchester back to New Jersey. I'm the first one there. I walk into the locker room, lights are off, nobody's there. I walk in, like, how do I turn the lights on? So I turn the lights on. Who's the second person there? Caprice Coleman. So I'm like, this is just me and him. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Let me get a chance to ask for commentary advice. And he says, one of the things he says to me was, it's all about the men in the ring. It's not about you guys on the desk. It's about the men in the ring, men and women in the ring.
Absolutely.
And tell their story. It's not about you guys. To which I'm so thank God he said that to me, because I had you and AJ Pan bickering back and forth.
Oh, that was good.
It was like Rose and whatever her name was from the Golden Girls, back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, gentlemen, we have action in the ring. We have a championship match in the ring.
Yeah.
So I kept focusing on that, and thankfully I was able to balance you guys out, because you guys kind of went a little buck nutty.
And did you hear our fellow broadcast colleague Samira, our correspondent, she was getting a Go Cheyenne chant going?
Was she? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, she was. Yeah. Oh yeah, when I got to the back, I got a Road Warrior pop. That was pretty cool.
Anyway, after that, guys calmed down during intermission, and we came back with the Law of Attraction herself, Journey Burke, going against Haley Dillon. Pretty impressive match.
Really impressive. Just a textbook exhibition match on this super card. Journey Burke is rapidly getting better.
Yeah.
And considering that there is no division in the divisions of BCW. That's
Exactly.
a little frightening for the
Good
rest of the
point.
competitors. I also enjoyed Haley.
Yeah, me too.
This might sound cliche, but I felt that they were evenly matched. Thought Haley was excellent, and I think that long term, she would be a great addition to not just the BCW roster, but the Northeast.
Absolutely.
I would love for her to be in the Queen of the North.
Okay.
I know that's very, very far thinking,
Yeah.
but if she can continue, continuity on future BCW shows, there's no reason why she can't compete for it. Having said that, Journey was just kind of stellar. I saw from the last time I saw her to this show, she was a lot more crisp, and her execution was just fluid, just rapid growth. Her acumen for the legal state of the Northeast certainly kind of osmosisized, if you will, to her in-ring prowess. And, say what you will about his fashion sense or his breath or his wig or his elevator shoes. But AJ Pan is a hell of a person to have at your side at ringside.
Definitely elevates you, especially in BCW. And Journey Burke, when she made her debut, I'm like, all right, she's young, she's new, what we call in the business green. But AJ saw something in her, took her under his wing, and he saw that she could have potential, and she is. She's getting better and better every show we see her at.
Yeah.
And there's something about her he saw that I did not see. That's why he's the governor. And it's paying off. However, after that match, our backstage correspondent, the beautiful Samira, caught up with them, and this is what they had to say.
We did it!
You did it.
Let's go over there.
I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate you being there so much.
I'm so proud of you, Journey.
Thank AJ and Journey, can I get a quick word? I mean, congratulations on your win here at BCW. Can you tell me what's next for you guys?
What's next is the law of attraction and America's favorite agent. We're ready to take BCW by storm because we're unstoppable.
We are unstoppable. The law of attraction right here. She proved it tonight. This is night one in the journey. Saw that, right? The journey to the top. I only align myself with people who either are stars or going to be stars. She is the future. And by anniversary 7, you are going to see Journey Burke, Esquire, at the top of the card here in BCW.
Case closed.
And I'm so proud of her.
And well said. Do you believe, from what you've seen of Journey Burke, we'll see her as the top of the women's division in a year's time by anniversary 7?
In a year's time, you know what? I think that's a more than fair. I mean, of course, it's going to sound corny, but it's a self-assessment, but it's a fair one.
Yeah.
And I think it was fair. And also, here's the thing, right? She openly said that she needs the time. She openly said that she might not be ready now, but you should be really worried about later. A lot of rookies just come out of the gate and say, I'm going to challenge for the world title tomorrow. And then it doesn't happen. Or they challenge for the world title and then they fail. Unanimously fail. Right? She's saying, hey, I'm getting by now, but just give me a bit.
We'll get into this a little bit later, in a couple minutes, but the face of the women's division, Ruthless Lala, quit because of our colleague, Mark Schwann. And so the women's division is kind of open-ended here.
Yeah.
We got Vicious Vicky. We got Christina Marie. We got the current Queen of the North, Danny Moe. So the women are kind of vying for position here to make a name for themselves. And Journey Burke could insert herself very easily.
Absolutely. And then going back to my initial point, there is no division in the BCW divisions, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that Lala, who, really took over the women's division after our previous champion.
And the locker room himself.
That's right. Has left because of Mark Schwann, which is so unfortunate.
Yeah. So you agree.
Also,
he's the catalyst.
As much as I like Mark, I have to say that this is certainly his doing.
We'll get into that later, but go ahead.
But hey, it's open season right now, is what I could say.
Speaking of the women's division, Nevaeh Chantel, who was winless, finally got a win. Her challenger backed out. She opened the open challenge. Her good friend and training partner, D-Vibe, answered that. And Nevaeh Chantel picked up her first win.
I love that match for a couple different reasons, right? So here's Nevaeh Chantel, who is literally foaming at the mouth for victory, not opportunity, for victory, which makes the stakes even higher, right?
Yeah.
Which makes the stakes even higher because there's only one option, right? And you're telling me that failure's not an option. So that's pretty cool. Having said that, check out the tenacity of her training partner to come and say, well,
good point.
This is W, and this is the anniversary show, and this is a big show, and it's been a big night. No disrespect, but I'm coming in. So I loved the entire complexion of that matchup.
BCW Tag Team Championships. Blonde Force Trauma takes on the Rabid Daddies, Andy Brown and Ryan Mooney.
How about that?
For two guys who are first tagging together, who are supposedly best friends, who became best friends in, 5-7 days? They did an impressive job.
They did an impressive job.
Very impressed with them.
Exceptionally entertaining.
Very entertaining, yes. I think they showed an impressive showing for their first time tagging together. They have trained together for a while. They've known each other for a long time. But first time being quote-unquote best friends and being tag team partners. Very impressive show. I hope it's not the last time we see them here at BCW.
Yeah, they were great. They were great. It's so funny because they couldn't best the blonde, so it kind of makes me wonder, where do they go on a return,
Yeah, sure.
Or do they come back, X amount of months from now, like, hey, with all this continuity and tandem offense we've developed since we last saw you, we got a better shot, The Blondes are in the same conversation as any other team on the Indies right now.
Well said. I don't see gender because they're just on par with everybody I've seen.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Mike Law taking on AJ Penn's very own intern, Jerry. Making his BCW debut. And wow is all we can say.
Yeah, it was very much, I've known Jerry since he started, seeing him go from ring crew to wrestler. And then you have Mike Law, who is a legitimate veteran in pro wrestling. So all the dynamics of a great story, plus Alan, Abraham, AJ, that's his name. AJ Penn was also at ringside.
He was on commentary.
The story was there. Huh?
He was on commentary with us.
Unfortunately. And the story was there. It was set. Shout out to Mike Law for being in excellent shape after all these years. And, it was time for school for Jerry.
And he delivered, man. Very surprisingly. We expected this to be a squash match. Mike Law to basically, no offense, but murder him. And he did not. Jerry held his own, had some bright moments, hitting that Jerry to belly. I know AJ Penn was impressed with him. AJ left commentary to give him a handshake and say, you did a good job. I'm very impressed. Well done. Yeah. So looking forward to the future holds here for Jerry in BCW.
Yeah, I can't stress it enough. Jerry certainly, he climbed the mountain. He just didn't hit the peak. He took more strides than anybody expected out of him.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Jerry. But in the end, experience is exquisite in wrestling. And Mike Law was the Rembrandt of the mat on that night.
Afterwards, again, our backstage correspondent, Samira, met up with Mike Law and Mr. AJ Penn. And this is what they had to say.
Welcome, BCW Anniversary 6. I'm Samir, and I'm joined by AJ Penn and Colossal Mike Law.
Thank you for getting that right. I appreciate that. You know how many times these promoters can't even spell my name correctly on a flyer? Well, that being said, AJ Penn, I want to thank you.
Of course.
Okay? You're my homie. You're a ride or die. You're my best friend. You're my agent.
You're my blood.
Blood. You're blood. Samira, you want to know why I came back to BCW after so many years? You want to know why?
Why is that?
It's because I was promised something, okay? Now, you fed me, intern Jerry, okay? You put that poor boy in a sacrifice, and I got rid of that boy. He no here no more.
Oh, he's going to be here. He's all right. He's a good kid.
All right.
He's right. He's a good kid. He's
Yeah, he tried, right?
He tried hard.
But with that being said, as much as I value our friendship, our brotherhood, there's something that I value just a little bit more than that, and I think you know what it is.
Well, again, as we've talked about, I'm not one of those liars like these other promoters. I told you I promised you something. You did right by me today, so I'm going to do right by you. Our next event, June 18th. That's going to be, it's a special show to me because it's a memorial show for my mom, Mama Pan. So with that, what better way to reward you than to put you in a championship match that night?
I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So you're going to challenge the Grand Dragon Champion, a man you know very well. You've been on the opposite side of the ring with him. You've stood on the same side with him. You've been tag team champions with the man.
Yes.
Anthony Gangone. So Anthony Gangone versus Mike Law. Scoop for you, Samira. Yeah. Breaking this right here.
Don't tell anybody else. It stays between us three.
And except the couple people who are watching this on the
millions
on the tweet machine.
Yeah.
And whatever. So socials.
2,000 views from our last promo.
Hey.
With that being said,
we bring views in.
Yeah. With that being said,
yes,
sir, I love you, man.
I love you too. That's
why.
This
is a shoot right here. That's not fake love. This is real love.
Yeah.
Okay, between two grown men.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. So for his efforts, Mike Law is now granted a Grand Dragon Championship match against Anthony Gangone at Summer on Smash. Well deserved.
Now, I don't want to get into if it was deserved or not. If nothing else, I could say that it's rather rapid. While Mike Law is a veteran deserving of any championship, it'd been some time since he'd been in BCW, about 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Up until his return point. Having said that, Mike Law is going against a different version of Anthony Gangone than 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, everybody knows that. Yeah. Jesus.
Having said that, Anthony Gangone is going against a very different version of Mike Law from 5 or 6 years ago. So I'm very much invested in this potential matchup for the Grand Dragon Championship.
Our first match announced for Summer on Smash.
That's right.
A tribute to Mama Pan will take place on Father's Day, June 18th at 3 p.m. at Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Get your tickets now while they last. However, Mr. Ortiz, we go to the main event. The BCW Women's Champion, Ruthless Lala, is set to take on Kelsey Reagan. However, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mr. Cole comes out and announces it is now a triple threat match with Vicious Vicky. Our colleague at the table was Mr. Mark Schwann. He was so surprised. Going back 2 days later, they showed on social media Mark Schwann was the catalyst of this, catching Mr. Cole backstage, who was on the phone doing business. Mr. Cole decided Schwann had a point and gave Vicky this opportunity. Out of nowhere, Lala wasn't prepared. Kelsey Reagan wasn't prepared. And this turned into a triple threat with Ruthless Lala hitting the lullaby, which has put away numerous competitors.
Oh, yeah.
Vicky takes her out of the ring, covers Reagan for the 1, 2, 3. Schwann and Vicky celebrate the championship. Now, your thoughts? Because Vicious Vicky did not need Mark Schwann here to get gold. She gets gold wherever she goes. I felt like it's very Weasley. It's a Weasley move here.
At the same time, without Mark Schwann agenting Vicky into that matchup, would that opportunity been presented?
No, but it would have eventually. After her showing an opening match against Gangone, she definitely inserted herself in the top tier for the women's championship match. Absolutely. She does not need Mark Schwann here. And the way she won it by... Mark Schwann is a weasel.
I get it. And pro wrestling close is only good for horseshoes and hand grenades.
Yeah.
But having said that, if I'm Vicious Vicky, do I want to wait 6 months? Somebody's going to come and tell me, hey, guess what I got you tonight?
No, this is not against Vicious Vicky. She's a great champion. She deserves it.
Not at all. Unfortunately, it doesn't diminish Vicky's victory at all.
No,
it doesn't
not
take
at all.
away at all. But Mark Schwann is the catalyst. He's the syndicate of the whole situation in the main event.
So now, apparently, she's now with Hollywood Inc.? That's a thing? Okay.
Yeah, that was...
Again,
that was very surprising.
You've sat at ringside calling many a matches for many a promotions. Vicious Vicky has won championships wherever she goes. Have you seen a competitor needing a manager, needing a faction to win championships when you've done it in the past? It just seems very awkward, very Weasley on Mark Schwann's part here. Like very ambulance chaser here if he was a lawyer.
Yeah, Vicious Vicky, such a perennial athlete in the Northeast, trailblazer, all those cliche accolades. And yes, she would have gotten there eventually. But, after rewatching through False Finish Productions and, of course, BCW's home site where you could catch all this action, rewatching that first contest, Mark Schwann was heavily invested in that opening match.
little too invested. We called it on commentary too. A little too invested. Like what?
And that was something that we shunned away from, and then look what happened in the main event. You know. But I can't stress this enough. Look, congratulations to Vicious Vicky.
Absolutely.
She's going to hold that title down.
Absolutely.
And present us matches at a different level, at an upper tier. But, yeah, Mark Schwann tainted it, you know?
Yeah, it just seems weird. It just seems... And especially I feel bad for AJ because Mark Schwann surpassed him. This is a show. Mark Schwann should have went to AJ and said, listen, here's my idea. What do you think? But he surpassed the governor, the governing body of BCW, and went to Anthony Cole, who has many entities under his belt, not just this show. Although Cole is ringside, he talks to the fans, he's very interactive at the show. You see the clip on social media. He's on the phone with somebody else. But I feel it's very disrespectful to AJ Japan on Mark Schwann's part.
Well, I'm actually going to switch it, and I'm going to say I'm going to leave it up to Mr. Cole and Mr. Pan to decide if Mark Schwann went through the proper channels when it comes down to the bureaucracy of BCW. I'll let the parties involved decide. What I can tell you is that regardless of its execution, we have a new champion, and her name is Vicious Vicky, and I couldn't be prouder after having – we're only about 4 months in, but she's having a hell of a year so far, you know, despite a couple little speed bumps. But hats off to Vicious Vicky for a stellar victory.
Oh, absolutely. I love Vicky. I've seen her for years now. I was ringside for her first championship. I was ringside when she was a valet, made her debut as a valet. Now sees championships wherever she goes. Love her to death. This is not anything against her. She does not need Mark. But yeah, so that was it. That was Anniversary in a nutshell. Your thoughts of the show in itself as a whole? That was a good show. Very promising start to 2023 for BCW.
I thought it was an excellent show. Exactly that. A very promising start for 2023. It was one of those shows that make you realize, wow, BCW's really got it going on.
Yeah.
And my hat's off to Anthony Cole, to AJ Pan, to the booking committee, to the governing body, to Mrs. T, to everybody. It's a team effort, and the team hit a home run. I can't stress enough how great it was, and if you can catch it on social media, make it your business to do so.
That's it? Nobody else? Okay, that's fine.
That's what I got. What do you want me to say?
That's fine. Whatever. You said enough. However, our former women's
something
champion...
you'd like me to mention? Is there an issue you'd like me to...
No, that's fine. However, our former women's champion has now quit BCW because her best friend stabbed her in the back and cost her the championship. So I think the loss of Ruthless Lala on screen will be felt, but I feel like it'll be more felt in the locker room. Sure. All because of Mark Schwann.
All because of Mark Schwann. Yeah, Mark Schwann, like I said, is the syndicate behind so much. And I don't think he realizes the ripple effect behind his actions.
He plays checkers, not chess.
Right. And he's aligned himself with one of the most proficient chess players, you know?
Yes.
So, yeah, but what there's two things I want to touch on real quick about the show going into the show. Like I said, it was a stellar card top to bottom. The BCW roster is bringing their A game more than they already were. And that's a type of locker room you want to be around as a performer. With that, I want to tell you all that I'm very excited to potentially be a part of Summer on Smash, tribute to Mama Pan. I did not have a relationship with Mama Pan in the sense of like, you know, rapport and things like that, but I cannot stress to you that when I got to see her and interact with her, how nice she was.
Oh, so you met her before?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to peel the curtain back too much, but not just a wrestling fan, a student of the game. Her experiences as a wrestling fan and the people she got to interact with and meet are every fan's dream.
Nice.
I've got to hear some of the stories and read them, and the people that she knew, just, you know, the car trips and those in the car and the shows they got to and the supercars they got to go to. And a lot of people knew AJ's mom.
Yeah, a lot
of people knew AJ's mom. And like I said, what a very, very nice woman. Albeit brief, I cannot forget our interactions back in the Five Borough Wrestling days. So I implore all of you in the locker room to deliver in June on Father's Day for Summer on Smash because she's going to be watching.
Well
Gonna
said.
be watching. Hopefully I'll be there if my suspension is lifted, but we'll get to that. But if
Hopefully.
not, I sure as hell gonna be watching because it means a lot to me. It obviously rather doesn't mean the same thing that it means to AJ, but it means more to me than he knows. And having said that, let's commend the commentary team from the last BCW show anniversary, and let's take a moment to acknowledge here on A Shot of BCW, Michael J. Putty for really kicking ass.
Thank you.
And delivering.
Thank you.
You should have been more patient. It was gonna happen. You just didn't know.
I did not know. No.
You're acting like a third date right now. Let me finish. So, if you have been watching Putty's growth from the first show he did to now, it is transcendent. And his commentary was par excellence at the last show. I'm so proud and honored. And if I'm not going to be there in June, I can tell you that the commentary booth is in very stable hands. So rock and roll to everybody. I can't wait for the June show.
I hope you're there, man. On Father's Day, June 18th, at the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New Jersey.
That's right, the Mecca, the Phil. Meet me at the Phil Sheridan building. So,
Mr. Ortiz, thank you for joining us this week.
No, thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for recapping the hangover that was Anniversary 6. Again, one of the best seats in the house, ringside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You do a commentary for a couple other promotions. How does BCW compare to other promotions?
Well, I can tell you this: the way that BCW compares to the others is the diversity. I love the diversity, and I love the opportunity. The fact that anybody could get in with anybody, the fact that anybody could challenge for any title. It's non-binary body slams, and I like that.
Nice.
And I like that a lot. And I come from the era where, intergender matches were an attraction, right?
Yes.
And going back to a point that I made earlier, now they're becoming more and more commonplace. Having said that, that doesn't mean they're done well. But
true.
Top to bottom, when BCW says it's this person versus that person, it's done well. Diversity. We say that word a lot, but until you experience diversity, you don't really understand how palpable it is. And when it comes to wrestling in general, diversity is hard. And not just I'm not talking just skin colors and background and ethnicity. I mean, from a wrestling card, top to bottom, you want to have the most diverse card possible to entertain the fans. And BCW is just delivering on all cylinders. And I know that for that Father's Day show, June 18th, Summer on Smash, it's going to be the same deal.
Where can people find you on social medias?
Well, you can catch me, Cheyenne the Voice, on Instagram and linktree.com/Cheyenne the Voice for all other forms of social media.
Nice. Love the Linktree.
Love the Linktree.
For BCW, you can follow them on Instagram at Brii, BRII _combination _wrestling. On Twitter, BCW _wrestling _. And on Facebook, Brii, BRII combination wrestling for all things BCW. Going to Summer on Smash, a tribute to Mama Penn. Get the link to tickets. Get them while you can. Get the latest backstage promos, updates on the card, updates on match cards. The conversation will never stop on BCW social medias. So, Cheyenne, thank you for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Thank you for getting your side of the story for Anniversary.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Mr. Pan, if you're listening, you will be hearing from my attorney, Miss Jacqueline Diaz, to have this matter sorted out.
Is she single?
I can put in a word for you.
Please. Sounds like a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I mean, I know you got the gluten thing, but I'll talk to her.
Yeah, thank you. Please. So for Mr. Cheyenne Ortiz, I have been your host at Maja Putty. Until next time, Putty out.